All that I was saying was that a day after tomorrow, students will be coming to the school after some gap, and we have to start our new session. Parents whose children are studying at the school, those may be old students, those may be new students, all are pinning very high hopes on us. All have these expectations that the life of the students will be transformed. All have this expectation from us that this is the school where if the children are given admission, those children improve holistically. Means mental growth is there, emotional growth is there, spiritual growth is there, moral growth is there, and physical growth is there. And as a teacher, we should all ponder over this, that if because of each one of you, multiple human lives are transformed, what can be a better job than this? If because of each one of you, different human lives are transformed, they start thinking well, they start listening well, they start obeying better, they start writing well. As a student, they become strong. As a son or daughter, they all become highly responsible. As a youngster, they all become highly disciplined because of you. So don't you feel this is a very sacred task? This is a very pious task. This is a very divine task. And this is real worship of God. So therefore, it's important that if this task has been given to each one of us, if this opportunity has been given to each one of us, we should not lose and we should not waste this opportunity. Some points are there which I'll be sharing with all of you. Yes. Yes, what's it? Who's there inside? Parents are there to get books? Right. First point is that when students come and we are conducting our attendance period, so many things are to be communicated to all the students. During attendance period. First thing is we have to guide the children about proper uniform. The proper uniform is very important. If on any day it is observed uniform is not proper or it is not worn properly by the students, then students will be facing tough times here. They'll be turned out of the class, remarks will be mentioned in their diary, and if this kind of habit continues, they will be suspended, first for 3 days, then for 6 days, and then they'll be expelled out of the school. So clear guidelines are to be given to the students on first day, that they need to respect all the norms, and uniform is very important. The proper uniform is to be worn by everybody. It should not be shabby, it should not be short, it should fit them well, and it should be as per the dimensions which have been given to them officially by the students. If dimensions are improper, then also that will not be acceptable to us. Next is proper tiffin. So regarding tiffin also, students are to be guided. So what kind of tiffin is not to be brought? Non-vegetarian food is not permitted. Fast food is also not permitted. Okay, packed food not permitted. No beverages are to be brought to the school. No Tetra packs are to be brought to the school. Regarding bag, it should be packed as per timetable. Whichever books are required, all those books should be there in the bag. Extra notebooks, extra books must not be there in the bag. Proper haircut, proper kada. Regarding that also students are to be guided. I am also wearing a kada. So it's lightweight, okay, and it doesn't have sharp edges, okay, it cannot harm anybody. So it is this kind of kada that everybody is supposed to wear. Then no machine is to be used on hair. Hair is long, so hair is to be cut short with scissors. No machine is to be used for that purpose. If ever it is observed, child will be out of the class, remarks will be there, suspension will be there. Proper shoes, proper socks. Diaries are to be checked to see all details are filled up on 3 pages. Today, one circular has been sent. Please refer to that circular. In that circular, page numbers are mentioned. Page number 3 is there, page number 5 is there, page number 6 is there. So on these 3 pages, whichever columns are there, all those columns should be properly filled up in all classes. Usually senior students don't listen, but it's our duty to make them aware and to get the work done from the students. Okay, no compromise should be there. These 3 pages are to be properly filled up. Next is, all children are to be guided to use proper classwork notebooks. In our school, we don't have any concept of rough notebook. Yet, last year it was observed repeatedly that in most of the classes, as and when teachers were doing the work, students were writing that in the rough notebook. It is useless. People cannot make any use of that later on when it is expected of them to do preparation. So preparation can be done when work is done in classwork notebooks. So for each subject, 3rd standard onwards, for each subject, we have to have a separate classwork notebook for each subject. Okay? Means if suppose social science teacher enters the class and work is to be done, she should give this instruction: take out your classwork notebook of social science. Take out your book of social science and open page number this. Right? So this instruction is required to be given. Take out your classwork notebook of this subject. And later on it is to be checked also by all of us that children are not using rough notebook. On the first day during attendance period, this clarity is to be given to the students. The use of rough notebook will not be permitted, and in case anybody violates this rule, then same punishment is there. So, classwork notebooks. Next is, children are to be guided about using class passes. So what is the rule for class pass? Let us have this clarity. What is the rule for class pass? Yes, Gurpreet Bharat. Fine. So when the day gets over, who is to keep that pass with himself or herself? Class teacher. Class teacher. What is, who will be taking care of that class pass when one teacher leaves and the other teacher is yet to enter. So in every class we have some young mentors, right? So those young mentors are the monitors of the class. Those young mentors will take care of the class pass. But do young mentors have this authority to permit any child to leave the class for any reason? No. No. Young mentors don't have this authority to leave the class, to permit anyone to leave the class without the permission of the teacher. So class passes are to be used in the presence of the teacher, not in the absence of the teacher. And if in the absence of the teacher it is used, then what should the next teacher do? If in the absence of the teacher, some student leaves the class and takes class pass with him, the next teacher enters, Gurpreet Madam enters, and then that boy or girl comes from outside and seeks permission. That child is not to be permitted for any reason to enter the class. If the child says that so and so teacher permitted me, go, bring a note in writing. Right? So child is not to be permitted to enter the class. So this awareness should be given on the first day during attendance period. We are coming to that. So next point is, like if suppose somebody seeks permission, so we are not to permit the child to enter the class. And if we tell the child to go and get the slip, this message should be given to the child, you should be back within 3 minutes. If you are not back within 3 minutes, okay, then you will not be permitted to attend my class. And you will have to stand outside. Be back within 3 minutes. If you don't find out the teacher, come. Then your duty is send that boy or girl to the coordinator. But child will not be permitted to enter the class until unless coordinator madam signs or until unless the concerned teacher gives this slip, this child took permission from me. In that case, this information should be given to the coordinator that so and so teacher permitted the child to leave the class when the period was getting over. Because when buzzer is pressed, after the buzzer, we are not permitted to send the child out of the class for any reason after the buzzer. Because when buzzer is pressed, 5 minutes are left. The child may not be back. So who will take the responsibility? The entire discipline will be spoiled. So once the buzzer is pressed, okay, after the buzzer, we are not to permit any child to go out of the class. That is the job, that is the discretion of the new teacher. Let the new teacher come. When he or she enters the class, will give permission to the child. So this awareness, complete awareness regarding class passes should be given to the students during attendance period. Class passes availability is to be ensured. In every class, 2 class passes should be there. So whichever teachers have been given class in charge, they need to ensure that in their classes, 2 class passes are there. Class coordinators and floor coordinators, they should also get this clarity that in all sections, whosoever is the class teacher, that class teacher should have 2 class passes. If not there, so those class passes are to be arranged. Next point is, yes, we need to guide the children about what they all need to do when one period changes. Bell goes, a teaching period gets over, the new teaching period is to start. Okay? So between these 2 teaching periods, 1 or 2 minutes are taken by the teacher to enter the class. So what a student is supposed to do? A student is supposed to study whatever was taught by the previous teacher. Then books and notebooks are to be closed. They are to be kept in the bag carefully. And book and notebook which are required in the next teaching period, that book and that notebook is to be kept on the desk, and then patiently they are supposed to wait for the teacher. So it is this job which is to be done by the students. No shouting, no shrieking, no gossiping, no whispering, no running in the class, no fighting in the class. If it is done by anyone, so same punishment is there. Students are also to be told that in classroom there are certain priorities. What are those priorities? Those priorities are, number one, complete classwork. Your classwork has to be complete. Second is neat classwork. Whichever classwork is done, it is very precious, it is very crucial, it is very important. It is required to be revised by the child when the child is to do preparation for all the tests. It is required to be revised by the child when the child goes home. Okay, so for that purpose it is important that classwork is neat. Next priority in the class is proper understanding of the textbook content. We need to tell them that when you are in the class, you need to be absolutely clear of the priorities and purpose for which you are sitting in the class. So priorities and purpose is complete classwork, priorities and purpose is neat classwork, priority and purpose is proper understanding of the textbook content. Next is proper understanding of each point discussed in the class. Proper understanding of each point discussed in the class. Next priority is clarity of all doubts and confusions. Means students, they must make sure that if they have certain doubts, if they have certain problems, if they have certain confusions in their mind, they must raise questions in the class to get those doubts resolved, to get those confusions removed. So that is also one of their top priorities. Even though our school's system is, if we should raise questions to assess the doubts, yet if suppose for any reason teacher fails to do so and student has got some problems and doubts, then this is also one of their priorities, that when they come to the classroom, they must raise their hand and they should ask questions. First 5 minutes in the class are meant for this purpose. During first 5 minutes, teacher is also to raise questions to assess the students. Similarly, during those 5 minutes, student can also raise questions to overcome his doubts. During first 5 minutes. Next priority is submission of the work done at home. Whichever work has been done by the child at home, that is to be submitted in the class. Right? So these are some of the priorities which every child should be aware of. Now, there are some priorities at home also. Student is a student not only in the classroom, not only in the school, but at home also. So what are those priorities? Number one, very important. Whichever work is done in the class, that is required to be shown to the parents. All classwork notebooks and pages of the books which were studied in the class, all this is required to be shown to the parents. Second priority is work done in the class that might have been written by the students, that might have been read by the students. It is required to be revised at home. Means work done in the notebook and work studied in the textbook, usko revise karna, that is also a priority. After revising the work, the student should show the diary to the parents and get their signature. This is task number 3 to be done at home. And after that, task number 4, do homework. So this is something which is to be communicated to the students on the first day during attendance period. On the second day, we should get feedback from the students regarding the directions which are given to them on the first day. We should raise questions to them and we should get answers from them so that everything gets registered in their mind. That way, whichever children are absent on the first day, they will also come to know about all these guidelines. The first 2 days are meant for this purpose. Next, some points are there regarding the way we are to conduct our teaching in the class. First point is classwork notebook and book. We have to tell the children, open your classwork notebook and open your book. Thereafter, sensitization. Sensitization means mood building. Sensitization doesn't mean previous knowledge testing. In most of the lesson plans, teachers have written previous knowledge will be tested. Sensitization doesn't mean previous knowledge testing. Sensitization means you are to teach a specific topic. It is important that the child is in that mood. So in order to bring that child to that mood, we have to have some kind of activity in the class, we have to have some kind of interaction in the class, so we should have that. Next point is, we need to tell examinational relevance of the topic. That this topic that we are going to take up, in your examination, these many marks questions will be there, based on this chapter. Next is, we have to use show, tell and ask method. Show, tell and ask method means, whatever is to be explained in the class, before it is explained, that point is to be noted or it is to be written on the writing board. And all children should be told to note it down. Then it is to be explained. While explaining, whichever technical terms are there, whichever difficult words are there, whichever uncommon words are there, whichever formulae are there, whichever methods are there, everything is required to be written on the board. And children should be told to make a note of that in their classwork notebook. Now, we are showing and we are telling, means we are explaining. Telling means we are explaining. Now, if you keep on explaining, it is, purpose will be defeated. Purpose will not be achieved. Purpose is that everything is required to be understood by the students. Purpose is that everything is required to be absorbed by the students. So for that, interaction in the class is very important. So we have to do proper interaction in the class. So for that, we have to raise questions to the students. Those questions may be memory-based questions. Those questions may be understanding-based questions. Those questions may be to develop critical thinking in the children. So all sorts of questions are to be raised to the children. So those questions will be based on whatever has been explained in the class. So if all these questions are properly raised, proper interaction is there, the benefit will be, what will be the benefit? Amar madam, when we have last one, when we have interaction in the class, so in what way will it be useful for us?
We can check the understanding level of the students.
Yes, we can certainly
whether they are
assess.
concentration on our topic or not.
So whether they are physically and mentally present in the class or not, this too can be assessed.
Yes.
Their understanding can also be assessed. Concentration level can also be assessed. Yes. Anything else? If proper interaction is there, then it will not be very difficult for us to maintain discipline in the class.
Yes, sir. Students should take interest and
So
they
they will
listen
take
carefully.
interest. Yes.
They listen carefully whether teacher can ask the question at any time.
So they will be attentive. Please write. Then we have one very important objective, and that is to improve the communication skills of the children. So when we have interaction with the students in the class, and in every teaching period, after every few minutes, this kind of interaction is there in the class, it is quite obvious there will be proper environment in the class. And in that environment, communication in English is there. So when communication in English is there, through questions, through answers, that way, communication skills of the children will also improve in that process. So therefore, for serving all these purposes, which are some of our top priorities, it's very important that we have regular interaction with the students in the class. Next point is that the other day about classroom management, certain points were shared. It is important that when we are teaching the students, then all those points which were shared during that session, those points are required to be followed in the class. A teacher enters the class, should first observe, should make sure that everybody settles down. Okay, and then we are to conduct our sensitization part. First day, on second day, it should be recapitulation, right? So recapitulation can be done in multiple ways. Everybody's attention is to be engaged. Nobody is to be permitted to look sideways or to have any kind of conversation with somebody. Everybody should be visibly active. Visibly active. Okay. So that is very important. Whichever such students are there in the class who usually create indiscipline, they should be sitting at a point where they are clearly visible to the teacher. We have laid a lot of emphasis on working on the reading ability of the students. Whatever points have been discussed, please make sure that all those points are executed. Whatever any teacher is writing on the board, that may be a class first standard, that may be 12th standard. Whatever we are writing on the board, while writing on the board, we should speak what we are writing. What should we do? Whatever we are writing, what should we do? We should speak. Right? So, the main character of the story was a very intelligent person. Right? So, this is how we have to write on the board. It is not just children note down. No. That is not acceptable. Regarding reading, multiple other points have been mentioned in your lesson plans also. So please make sure that a lot of emphasis is laid in all classes up to class 12 on reading. Every child should be enabled in a manner that he finds himself very comfortable while doing the reading of the textbook or other books. We have to empower the students with strong academic input. Strong academic input. Whatever is important from examinations point of view, that is to be taught to the children. Whatever is important to make the child a strong student, that is to be taught to the students. We need to tell them all that they should take care of their handwriting, they should take care of their letter, word and sentence formation. उसके बारे में repeatedly बच्चों को guide करना. That is our duty. Even though classwork is not to be checked by the teachers, but if suppose it is found later on that the work done by certain students is repeatedly shabby and child has not been guided, then questions will be raised to the teacher. We are not doing the correction work third standard onwards of the classwork notebook, but that doesn't mean that the child's work remains incomplete, okay, or the child's work is shabby. So this care is to be taken by the subject teachers who are teaching there in the class. When we are talking about giving notes, so in notes, short questions should be dictated to the students in classes 3rd to 12th. Short questions. When short questions are being dictated, then based on those short questions, very short answer questions are prepared by the students. For very short answer questions, means one word answers, MCQs, dictation is not required. Dictation is not required. We can raise these questions orally in the class. For very short answer questions, we have to have oral interaction in the class. When dictation is to be done, then short answer questions. These questions which have got answers of 2 sentences in 3rd standard, 5 sentences in 4th and 5th standard, 6 to 7 sentences in 6th onwards. Okay, 5 or 6 sentences. So such answers are to be dictated. When such answers are written by the students get equipped to answer any kind of questions which they are getting in the examination. Please make very deep note of this. When a teacher is writing on the board, first thing that is to be done is teacher should write the date. Every teacher should write the date. Second point is, all students, they also must write the date in their classwork notebook. So whichever work is done by the students, it is teacher's responsibility to ensure that the student writes date at the top on the left. Yes, Kamal madam, what is to be done by the student?
Mention the date at the top of the
Notebook. Similarly, in the book also date is to be mentioned. Very important. Because when in the book date is mentioned, if I am somebody's father, okay, I open the book at home, so I come to know that this is the work which was done today in the class. When every date is mentioned. Okay, so please make it a routine habit that when you enter the class, please tell the children to mention the date on the left at the top in their notebook as well as in their book. Next point is buzzer. We have some new colleagues also with us. It is for their information. 5 minutes before the teaching period is to get over, there will be a buzzer. Buzzer is a kind of bell. It is electronic bell. Okay? It is not hammer and gong bell. Right? So that buzzer will be pressed. That is an indication for all the teachers that now 5 minutes are left. During those 5 minutes, what we have to do? Number 1, we have to wind up what we are explaining to the students. Second is, we have to raise questions to the students to get a proper feedback based on everything which has been discussed in the class. And third is, if it is our homework day, homework is to be assigned. Number 1, wind up. Number 2, get feedback. Raise questions to the students based on the words taught today, based on the terms taught today, based on the definitions taught today, based on the methods used today, based on the notes given today, based on the questions dictated today. So, a lot of work has been done in that class. Therefore, getting feedback is also, a very exhaustive kind of exercise. It is a very time-consuming exercise. So, therefore, we cannot say on any day that my work is over. Suppose I am on the round or any coordinator is on the round and it is found that teacher is idle and students are creating indiscipline. When teacher is asked a question, teacher says, my work is over. I have already got feedback from the students. I have already assigned work to the students. I don't think that anybody who happens to be a teacher, that teacher's work can ever be over. It is impossible. If we are teachers, our work can never ever be over. So it is therefore important that as long as the final bell doesn't go, we are to keep ourselves and we are to keep students engaged in some meaningful discussions. Our school's communication is totally English. So in our classroom, whatever communication we are to have with the students, that communication should be in English. So let us not take any deviation from this. The first day when you are taking attendance, please take care of one point which was not mentioned earlier. It is this, that whichever such student is there whose name is not there in your attendance register and that child is sitting in your class, that child should not be permitted to sit in that class. Look, you have come to know that this child, his name is not there in my register. So your attendance period is going on. So you have identified the child whose name is not there in the register. When your attendance period gets over, leave that child with coordinator. During your attendance period, don't send him out. Let the child sit in your class. But when your attendance period gets over, after the attendance period, the child is to be taken to coordinator. But this child was sitting in my class. Now we have a diary period also. When the day gets over, we have diary period. So this is class teacher's responsibility that she should get complete feedback about the entire day's work from all the children. First day, what work was done in the first period, what work was done in the second period, what work was done in the third period. This is very important. Raise such questions to all the students, more particularly to the slow learners. What work was done? Which lesson was taught? Child will say first lesson. What's the name of the lesson? Usually they are not aware of. So what work was done out of this chapter? Which word meanings were dictated? Where do you have those word meanings? All children, please keep your notebooks open in front of you. So you are the class teacher. You are to take the complete responsibility that all the students of your respective classes, they are very attentive all through the day. They are disciplined all through the day. They have got proper record of the entire work done all through the day. So this is very important. Randomly, class teachers should check the classwork notebooks. Randomly. I'm not saying on daily basis of all the children, but randomly means you should check, please take out your 5 notebooks and keep them on your table. I'm coming. Sign the diaries at the seats of the children. We, the teachers, need to go to the seat of the child. Children will not make a queue for getting their diary signed. Okay? Children will remain at their own seats. They will not move. They will not stand even. We are not to permit the children to stand. They will keep on sitting patient. Sometimes children behave in a very impatient manner because they know it is dispersal time now. So we are not to let them behave in an impatient manner. We need to make sure that everybody is sitting patiently at his seat. वहाँ पर जाकर we will be signing the diary. We will be telling the children that whichever work you have done today, in all teaching periods, show this work to your parents. Show your work, classwork, done in the classwork notebook, reading work done from the textbooks. Show everything to your parents. When parents meet you on PT meet, this is to be confirmed. ये हम उनसे confirm करें. Are they showing this to you or they are not showing? Then we have to tell them that they should get the signature, or we should also tell them to revise the entire work. Afterwards, children, boys separately, girls separately. We have to tell them to make lines, and the class teachers, they will be escorting all the students to the transport point. And they will keep on observing the students till they board their bus. Is it okay? So these are some of the important points. Thank you. Thank you so much.